Get ready with me while I tell you why it is so confusing to be an Indian living abroad. For me to tell you that, I actually need to give you some backstory. I'm originally from Kerala, but I moved to Bombay when I was about 6 years old. And I actually had such an identity crisis when I moved, because if any of you have been to Bombay, that city is different from anything else in India. And then I made my way out of that identity crisis and lived in Bombay until I was 24, and then I moved to Paris. And while living in Paris, a lot of what I got was, why is your English so good? Your English is so good. Are you a first-gen American? No. So the identity crisis continued, even though English is my first language. When I speak it at home, people always ask me, how is it your first language and why is it your first language? The confusion actually comes that a lot of families in South Bombay, which is where I am from, speak English, and they speak English at home. When I'm abroad, whether I'm traveling or not, people always ask me why my English is so good and where I'm from. So being an Indian who grew up in India, whose first language is English, who lives in France and is trying to speak French, is the whole confusing thing in itself. This is how I blend my blush, okay? It can be a little difficult to explain that to people, but it also gives me an identity crisis. Living abroad is like not for the weak, and then trying to explain your roots is difficult.